Greetings, Guardians, my name is Bife here. I'm supposed to be on break right now, but the churn of live service content continues to, well, be in my life, and so here we are. I've made a quick promise to everybody, especially to those people on Twitter who are telling me, and probably rightly so, to stop doing this and get on with my break and ignore all the content. So here's the compromise. I can't not talk about this, because it's kind of important, and it seems a little bit odd and tone deaf to just sort of sit there, make a video a few days prior to this, which granted was all scheduled, but make a video about all of the stuff that was potentially going to be speculative, and then to see all this suddenly released like the next day. Yeah, no, this is the right time to make this video, but I'm doing it in one take. I'm doing all of this very much off the cuff. There is no script today, and I just wanted to go ahead and point that out because, yeah, I'm trying to make this as quick as possible so that I can just get back to my break. Now, all that said, Season of the Deep got announced in the TWAB. I say announced, we all knew it was coming, but it's also one of those things of, hey, we got new art this time, and oh god, oh, it's really scary, oh no. Yeah, for those of you who don't know what thalassophobia is, maybe go ahead and look that up and understand why I'm chuckling with so much glee at the next season. Oh god, oh god, this isn't... not good. Anyway, point being, it looks as though a lot of the speculation that was brought about by the whole Winterbite quest, very much in line with what's actually going to happen. For starters, you take a look, you got Sloane front and center, and it does indeed look like this is going to be back on Titan, and yeah, oh man, let's get the big thing out of the way. Yep. The long boy in the soup is very much going to be at the center of this season by the looks of things. Season of the Deep apparently is in reference maybe not just to darkness things, but also to deep waters within Titan's methane oceans. Yeah. I have nothing more to say on this than the fact that I'm terrified. And that clearly this also states that this thing, the long boy in the soup, as the Drifter would call it, is not a worm god at very least, because worm gods do not have eyes on the sides of their face, and even if they do have eyes at the center of their mouths, and even if that's what this was, which I don't think it is, that's not what they look like. We have seen Zol enough times. So yeah, lots of stuff going on there, but it is very much not a worm or worm god. Is this something related to the Leviathan from Fundament? Who knows? Maybe, maybe not. An ancient enemy of the Witness? An enemy of the Witness at all? Well, I don't know what their story is, but it's bound to be interesting. Okay, so seriously though, let's take a moment to think about this, because there's an interesting fact that I think is kind of underlined and not really spoken about a lot when it comes to the Leviathan here on Titan. The Last Days on Kraken Mare lorebook from way back in the, gosh, I think it's actually from Shadowkeep. It talks about the arrival of the pyramid ships on Titan and how the end of the world there really happened. Massive gravity wave, huge tidal wave comes along and wipes out all the colonies. That much is known, but what's not known is that there is actually a passage within those lorebooks which talks about the life that can be found within Titan. And more specifically, life further deep down in Titan's oceans, and they don't actually note there being anything like this to the best of my knowledge. Nothing that is sentient and intelligent, which leaves us really with two possibilities. Either this thing arrived after the collapse, which is an even more fascinating story, and opens up all sorts of possibilities of, hey, what is this thing and where did it come from? Or alternatively, the researchers just never found this thing, meaning that it was deliberately hiding or was perhaps trapped. There's a lot of stuff about how the colonies, the arcologies that is, Titan's big cities on the waves, are actually connected into the ice shelf below Titan's methane oceans. So when you look at all of that, there's the possibility that it was always living down there under the ice and just made itself free when the ice was shattered by the pyramid ship's great gravity weapons. So, yeah, lots of potential nonsense going on there, but we have at least a few more answers about what the long boy in the soup is, and yeah, it's definitely going to be at the center of all this. I really hope we don't go in the water to see this thing, but the fact that the Guardians are floating, yeah, that tells me we're probably going to go in the water, or at very least in a sub. I don't know. Long story short, we're going to probably take a deep dive. I would imagine that either this or the character at the very front and center is the enemy of the Witness that is on Titan, and of course, That character is Deputy Commander Sloane. We talked about her a little bit earlier, and yeah, it appears that she's alive. So yeah, Sloane being alive, that's all fine and dandy. Glad that she's still here. Very cool. Here's the bit that everybody has been pointing out and has been asking me to not miss, which I absolutely didn't miss in the first place. Apologies, by the way, to the first person on Twitter who I blocked that just sent me an image of Sloane. Yeah, at the time being I thought you were posting a leak because it was low poly and very zoomed in, and I was like, oh my god, I can't believe people would spoil that of me. Nope, terribly sorry. Yeah, you were actually just posting this quick detail here. Point being, I'll find out who you were and I'll unblock you as you get, but also, Sloane has taken powers. That is a big deal. Let's talk about why. So, first of all, I want you to remember back to Witch Queen. When it comes to Witch Queen and Savathûn and the Altar of Reflection in particular, there are two things that stand out. The first bit, of course, is the bit which was mentioned in the speculation video. The bit which talks about how soon we Guardians will have the power to move worlds. However, the bit that's not so commonly talked about is the bit from the actual Witch Queen campaign when we pick up and analyze the Tablet of Ruin when we take it back into the Altar of Reflection, and that gives us a little bit more information. You see, the Tablet of Ruin has Savathûn and her dialogue explaining that the power that Oryx learned is not actually technically the power to take, but it is the power to move things between dimensions. And that tells us a little bit more about things. And it's important now because if Sloane has wielded this power, that's another means by which we might potentially be returning Titan to the fold. You see, it might be the fact that we're going ahead and doing this, using the room on the Witness's Pyramid ship, which has been completely overrun in the Root of Nightmares raid, or it could be that Sloane has figured out how to use this power. After all, Sloane has been stuck there for the better part of, what, it's about 3 years now? So ultimately it's this case of, hey, she may have learned that power all on her own. It's also worth remembering that the massive encounter suit that she found, which was capable of incredible feats of strength, yeah, she couldn't use her light within that suit. So maybe the darkness can be used. Maybe that's the big distinction, maybe that's the big differentiator. Either way, yeah, this is worth keeping in mind, not least because of the fact that if this is something more to do with the powers of darkness, it is the power of darkness that is most commonly linked to the Witness, and so ultimately it's worth understanding for the sake of understanding our foe. I don't think that Sloane is in a position where she's going to be a great betrayer or anything along those lines. I think quite the opposite, but what I do think this is important for is for the ongoing story of Commander Zavala. Yes, I know Lance Reddick is no longer with us, but there's a chance that he's actually still recorded lines for this season because things are worked on well in advance when it comes to game dev stuff, and so, yeah, it's entirely possible that when looking at all these things, we would actually be able to see Deputy Commander Sloane teaching Zavala a little bit more about the nature of darkness, and that even the power used by the Witness itself is not necessarily a power of evil. That's worth thinking about, and that's an interesting narrative arc. What has Sloane been doing on the rig for 3 years? Hell if I know, but no matter what, it's probably going to revolve around everything to do with this creature. If Sloane has been making contact with it, then it's likely that she already knows some of the key intelligence that has been given and granted to us. So yeah, that's my really quick summary of things. Looking forward to Season of the Deep lore-wise, but I really hope we're not jumping in the water all the goddamn time. Please. Please. Please don't put me in the water. I don't want to be in the water. Please no. Either way, I hope you enjoyed the video. I'm going to get back to my break. Thank you so much for watching, and if you did enjoy, do all the typical stuff. In the meantime though, that's all from me for now. As per usual, know that your viewership as always is quite enough for me, and that my name is Bife. Rhodacia Arastra. I'll see you, Starside.